Call council meeting to order. November the 7th, 2017 at 7 o'clock. Additions to the agenda, we've got police pay, attorney review, adoption of the ordinance, and new business for Arbor Day proclamation. Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 3-0. Citizen comments. We'll limit to about 3 minutes per person. Anybody got any comments?
It's really hard to hear.
Citizen comments are over.
You turn to your speakers on?
They're on.
Oh, they are.
Consent agenda, approve the minutes, regular council meeting, October 17, 2017, appropriation ordinance, 11/7/2017, $85,385.88.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 4-0. Marshall, go ahead. Department heads. Lisa Cornwell? Not here.
I can update you a little bit on something that her and I and Jess have been working on.
Okay.
Can everyone hear me?
How about now? Okay. Lisa Cornwell, Jeff, and I have been working on a grant to start looking at some swimming pool repairs and maybe getting a splash pad. So that is something that we have been focused on and looking at plans on that. So I think it's the Golden Belt grant through Great Bend. I have to double check that.
Police Chief Adam Saylor, report.
The tour is down.
We can't move it down. Don't move it down, please. We've already done the agenda. We need a motion. You want to move it to where? I guess we want to move Police Chief Saylor in old business, new business.
We can just wait till he gets here.
I guess we're going to wait on him to get here. Fire Chief, Mike? Jamie, City Clerk.
I just want to remind everyone that we have our Christmas around Square coming back this year, so everyone help spread the word on that. We would love to see everyone down here. If you guys want to be involved, I'm sure we can find a spot for you. And I think that's it. Oh, no. The VFW paid their bill. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that did come through.
Was that in full?
Yep, and full.
You're good? Anything else? Any questions for Jamie? Jeff, City Superintendent.
I got two things that need to prove, but I guess they went through already, but I need to ask permission. One of them was a bill from Cargill. We got a load of salt last week for $41.0760, but I think previously, if I remember last spring, you'd given me some leeway up to like $4,300 or something anyway, but you just need to know that we did order a load of salt. The other one was a bill to Foley. We called Foley out in the first week in October. We generated for Midwest Energy. part of an approval deal that we test run ever so often to max what we can run for their generation, so we get put on with their generation when we buy power from them. And about 10 minutes before we shut down, our Caterpillar got hot and it shut itself down. So I called Foley and they sent a guy out, and after 2 different rounds of studying what was going on that engine, we determined the day that we ran, it was fairly cool. It was about 80 degrees, but the wind was blowing very severely out south. And where that radiator sets on that Cat, it's directly north of the old well house, where the police department keep their dog food, straw, and stuff like that. And what it did was it short-circuited the exhaust coming through the radiator and pushed it back around and sucked the hot air back around in there to the point that the radiator shut it down. So I don't think it's a deal that we need to worry about right now, but probably in the spring, we might need to try and decide whether that well house ought to come down and maybe just a storage building for the police department or something. So that it's either that or we build some kind of a fan out front, on the front of that radiator, so that the air can get out past the edge of the well house in order not to short circuit and come back around again. But that's something we can address in the spring. The only time it's ever happened was this time when we loaded it just at the maximum of what it would run. We ran about 2 hours when it shut down. So, you know, we thought maybe it was something in the engine. We weren't sure. So that's the reason we called CAT out. And that was the determination they made. And I think in the past they might have had problems a time or two. They did put a water hookup on it where they could cool that radiator a little bit more on really hot days. But we didn't want to do that. It was a nice day. We didn't see any need to. But then they shut that engine down, so I see why now. We could go on like it is and keep, you know, when we did generate and have that engine maxed out, that we can run water through the radiator. If we want to do that, but that's really only alleviating the problem for a time. You know, so it's going to be something if we want that engine and it needs to be able to run max load, like the old well house might have to have that, or alternative measures of something to do with the radiator. So, but that bill was just over $2,000. It was $26,700. So it was just outside the. But we didn't know we were going to get 2 different guys at 2 different times. It should have been just a little over half that. But they worked. It was all travel time and labor and they did a lot of testing on the engine to make sure that everything was right. But we hadn't had it looked at for quite a few years. And Caterpillar's really funny about what they let out, what they let you see. So we have very few gauges on the engine to tell us hardly anything. We can tell intercooler temperature, we can tell radiator temperature, oil pressure, oil temperature, and that's it. I mean, we don't have any idea anything else that's going on, whether we've overloaded it, you know, or what we've done. We run up about where it's been designed to run, and that's all we can really tell. If it shuts down, we don't know why. So he did a couple hours worth of testing. So, you know, it was basically all labor, but there was quite a bit of evaluation involved with it. So that's the first time we've ever looked at it. Well, it was 2 trips. One guy was out of Chanute, the other guy was out of Dodge City. So I don't know. You know, I can't really argue because I don't know. It's kind of like working on John Deere, you know.
12 hours and all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of high all the time. But anyway, we have figured out what caused it. So now it's just a matter of whether we want to do something to alleviate it or live with it the way it is. So,
Murphy switch shut off?
no Murphys. It's all internal. It's all electronic. There's nothing you can touch. So,
Tim, what temperature did you cut
it's
in?
about 198 degrees. So I think it's set at 188 or 190. So about 10% over, not quite 10% over, and shut it down.
Did you look at the thermostats?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. But that's, as near as we can tell, that's what's causing it. It just, when it was put in behind that old well house. I don't think that was a thought in the thought process when they put it in. It was a matter of where to get it piped into. And this was one of those days when the wind was really strong out of the south, and it just would not let that air through. So, anyway, other than that, that's all I have.
Council, have any questions for Jeff this evening? Okay, City Attorney John.
Those first two items, do you want to discuss that now, or do you want me to wait until we get down to the other new business?
Council?
What's up with that? Yeah, it's one grand discussion. And I'm not sure what free is. Oh, okay. Do you want to talk about that now or under housing?
Because I printed off what I got from the county, but it's still on the commissioner's office.
Okay. Do they have a copy of that package? The resolution? No. We had previously discussed at one of the earlier meetings about taking the next step on some of these properties. And the first step for you guys to keep the property unsafe or unfit structure would be to pass this resolution and have a hearing in which the owners or interest owners come in and you guys talk about it. They'll maybe see the pictures of their properties that they're taking, that kind of thing. You guys set a timeline for repair or demolition of that property. This just sets a date for, you said, January 2nd, for those specific properties that we have been dealing with for, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months now. It's not all of the properties, I don't believe. It's kind of those that we've hit the end of the process and we need to take the next step.
Kind of some steps, I think, what we talked about on some of the properties we can't get the attention.
My only concern is with that date, and I'll leave it to council to decide, January 2nd, too close to the holidays. We're going to get pushed back from some of these landowners. I don't know. It's a lot of them are, 3 of them, 4 of them are absentee landowners. I don't think they reside in the same. I don't think a lot of those landowners reside in St. John, so if January 2nd is too early, we can just set that for the next council meeting.
I even added the one on First Street, because I tried to send a message to them.
All of the properties that we've been discussing under old business, the housing violations are all on this resolution, including the one on First Street. Is it Beams? I've tried to make contact with both of the children and I'm getting nowhere. So I just added it to it.
And they'll receive notice at their last known address, and it'll be published in the paper. And that's, if they're going to avoid receiving letters, it's not going to slow this process down.
What's council think?
I think it's a good idea, speed up the process. I don't see a problem with the second either. They're okay.
That's something you'd be interested in making a motion to adopt?
Is this already, John, been informed that it's acceptable?
It's the same resolution you guys adopted on other properties. It's just, it just has the different addresses, and then what'll happen is that'll get published along with a letter from the Doris that did the last one.
I think we adopted resolution 2017-07, effective 2 January, as presented. Second.
Got a motion on the table to accept the ordinance. A second. Is there any more discussion about it? Any questions for John before you vote on it? All in favor? All opposed? Passes 4-0. Old business.
My favorite,
Your favorite?
code enforcer. Has anyone decided what they wanted to do with that?
Yeah, we took a vote, you didn't know it, and you're in. What's council think? You gonna appoint somebody? You wanna, what's your thoughts on it?
Technically, it's supposed to be the superintendent or his agent, so if you're going to appoint somebody, you're basically appointing
She
your
is
agent.
my agent.
Agent is
I just really,
I don't think it's, I think Jeff's got money. But I, I think if we work our way through what we're going to do law enforcement, that should be probably part of the job description in the long run. Because I don't think Jamie's got money, Jeff's got money, unless there's somebody that's.
I'm more than willing to help somebody, as far as that goes. We do most of the rounding up on the stuff that's gonna be taken care of anyway, as far as except for the few code violations that there are, the zoning and that stuff, we're around to look that stuff at. I just can't say that I'll do it if you ask me to, but I don't know how good a job I'm gonna do.
I'd rather my lights come on.
I think I'm probably a better lineman.
That's my point.
Well, it is part of his job description, just so you know. Just wanted to adopt it.
Which jobs is
It's in Jeff's job description.
Yeah, it is.
No sheriff?
I think that position's got enough on its plate.
Jeff, can you delegate this to one of your subordinates on this?
A lot of times I can, but I think I still have to be the one to enforce it. My name has to go on the bottom. And I do. As far as like in the summer with the mowing layers and the weeds and that stuff, a lot of times I pass them off to one of my supervisors. It just kind of depends on where we're at, when the time comes. But, we'll make it work. It's the time of the year kind of depends on how much it gets. But I've kind of been part of this, of these houses and this stuff too. So I'm doing part of it. Jamie's doing part of it. We kind of share it the way it is. So, I don't guess there's really any need to put anybody else on, but there are times that it really doesn't take first on the list.
I think for right now, for the time being, I think we should go ahead and leave it as it is under your authority until we decide exactly what we're going to do with the election happening today. Once new council is on, we can address it again and then find out and finalize the whole thing and make sure that we know we have someone dedicated to doing this, and we're not putting undue burden on you, your crew, Jamie, or her office.
Okay. We'll make it work.
Thank you.
Any other questions on code enforcement? Housing violations? Any questions on there? Housing violations, 13, 15.
The resolution is ready to go.
We adopted it one. New business, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
So what's my protocol here?
So I'm placed in the middle where we can all hear you, kind of staying in the middle here. So good evening, everybody. I'm Jim with Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's a little unusual for me to present to a bigger group like this, so
I've decided I'm going to do a little bit of a cursory overview, and then you all can ask as many questions as you'd like. Is that fair enough? Usually I'm at a table with commissioners, and I can sit there and point and all that kind of good stuff. It's a little more difficult to do that tonight. So if you have questions about something, then I'll be glad to answer anything you might bring to my attention. So you all have an agenda in front of you. I think we'll start with that. Your renewal period runs from January 1st through December 31st. So we are up for renewal right now. Your current plan, as it states today, if you renew the same plan for 2018, it'll be just over 11% increase. Never like to bring an increase to the table. Unfortunately, with healthcare, the situation it is right now, that's kind of reality. So how did we come up with those numbers? That's going to be number 2 on your agenda list. So we in the healthcare industry look at what we call inflation factors and trend factors more appropriately. We are Blue Cross and Blue Shield. The Blue Cross side of it is the hospital side of it. It's trending at 7% right now. The Blue Shield side of it is a provider network. So we're looking at PAs and doctors and surgeons and all those kind of good folks. That's trending at half of that, 3.5%. And as you might expect, the RX side of it, the prescription side of it, has actually come down a little bit. For a long time, it was trending at a whopping 11% inflation, which isn't surprising because if you watch TV for more than 30 minutes, you see about 27 drug commercials out there. So that's just where we live right now. And what that means really is that if our premiums coming in and our claims going out, we're kind of flat through the year where we expect them to be, we probably still see an increase next year because of medical inflation. Make sense? With that being said, the federal government has also come down and said that the way we rated children under the age of 21 is now changing. Okay? In your current plan right now, the adult rate, and that's in tab 1, and we'll get to that in a minute, the adult rate, and I'm ballparking here a little bit, is an increase of about 6 or 7%. Okay? The child rate last year was 63% of an adult rate. That's just how it works. So it doesn't matter if you're 1 or 20, you had 63% of an adult rate. And then once you reached 21, you were assigned an adult rate. And then from every year thereaafter, titch up a little bit because the older you are, the more health insurance costs. Well, this year they've come back and said, look, kids between the age of 0 and 14 will be assigned a certain rate. Kids between the age of 15 and 20 will be assigned a certain rate. And so we're looking at pretty big increases within inside the child part of it. Some of the, I'm sharing this with Jamie earlier, some of the children that we see increasing upwards of 46% over last year's rates. So your rates this year are semi-reflective of that. So we've got the trend factor, we've got the child factor here, and the city of St. John is also part of a bigger pool in the state of Kansas. And it's no different than all other insurances out there. They're certainly not rated based on your own usage. If you were, then you'd have a pretty good roller coaster you'd ride. If you had some major claims, you hit pretty hard year after year after year. So you're banded in together with a pool. Unfortunately, the state of Kansas is neither young nor healthy right now. That's kind of a double whammy on us. So the pool didn't do too well this year. So I'm bringing you all sorts of good news forward. So with that being said, that's where we are. We have just over an 11% increase. Any questions on point 1 or point 2? How we got there? So I'm going to have you flip open real quick to tab 1. I'm going to have you go right here to this colorful sheet. You see right there? There you go. I'm going to look over somebody's shoulder because I've given all my deals out. So you all have what we call a share pay plan. A lot of plans you see out there have a traditional deductible, $1,000 deductible, or $1,500 deductible. After the deductible's been hit, as this is your plan, I'm just saying what most people are comfortable with. It's co-insurance, and then you have a max out of pocket, and you also have a prescription drug card. That's probably our most common plan. You have a really strong plan, which I must say is very common among my cities and counties, of which I do a number of cities and counties through my 16 county responsibility. So you have what we call a shared pay, 50% drug, 50% shared pay, which means if I go to the doctor take my child to the doctor for asthma, and the bill is $150, I'm paying $75, Blue Cross and Blue Shield is paying $75. Okay? Maximum exposure in your plan, and remind me if I'm wrong, is $1,150 for an individual, okay? And it doubles for a family. Okay, perfect. Everybody with me so far? I always call that the structure of the plan. Deductibles, home insurance is out of pocket, that's kind of the structure of your plan. No different than any other type of insurance. If you have auto insurance, you've got a deductible and all that kind of good stuff. Home and office visits are going to be paid at 50-50. Probably the biggest thing that's different in this plan than some of my other ones is this has no dedicated prescription drug card. Okay? Which means if your drug costs you $100, you're paying 50, Blue Cross and Blue Shield is paying 50. All of those dollars go towards your max out of pocket. Okay? So really the exposure, if you will, for City of St. John employees is somewhat limited to $1,150. Still a chunk of change, I get that, but there are plans out there. In fact, I was at a renewal today at 3 o'clock in Hutch, and they're out of pocket for $7,000 for an individual. So, any questions on your current plan? I'm doing this pretty briefly because there's a lot of things to go over, and I don't want to take up too much time.
The only question that I've got right here where it says mail order drugs.
Yes.
Specialty drugs are not covered. Is that covering just the mail order, or is that covering both?
So that's a good question. So let me back up a little bit. Even though there's not a dedicated drug card, you still get the Blue Cross and Blue Shield discount. So when you go to the pharmacy, you show your insurance card, and they'll give you our negotiated rate. If you're on some type of a drug you're going to be on for a while, like a cholesterol drug or a heart drug or something you're going to be on for a long time, you can get a bigger supply through the mail. Okay? Specialty type drugs, I call them, it's my own term, I call them TV drugs, because that's what you see on TV all the time, right? Specialty type drugs are very, very expensive, and they're usually not available for a long period of time. Those are very controlled because they're so expensive. They just don't give out a 90-day supply of a drug that costs $8,000 a month. Good question, though. Okay. So let's talk about in-network, out-of-network a little bit. On the left-hand column, that is white in-network. That's great news for us here in Kansas because we are we cover 103 counties in the state. There's 105 counties, but we are Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City covers Johnson and Wyandotte County. Okay, but within our 103 county coverage area, we cover 99% of all the providers, doctors, PAs, all that kind of good stuff, and every hospital is part of Blue Cross Blue Shield. So pretty much if you walk in and say, hey, I'd like to see somebody today, and you have a Blue Cross card, you're going to be part of the program. If you're traveling out of state, if you're for some reason in Denver wanting to watch the Broncos play, I have no idea why you do that, but if you're doing that, and you had to go to the hospital, it's always best to find somebody that's in network because your dollar exposure is more. I'm not talking about a heart attack or a car crash, nothing like that. But if you're like, man, my side hurts, I should probably get this looked at, you can go onto our website, you can find a doctor that's in network, you can call our customer service number, we'll help you out. Okay? Any questions on your current plan, how it works? So, with that being said, let's look at an option. So, like every type of insurance out there, really the only way to maneuver premium dollars is to pass on deductibles, those type of things. So we're going to take a look at probably our most popular plan in the state. Like I said, I think a lot of my counties and cities have the first plan and not this plan. But if every dollar is important, and I get that, this is an option. Okay. We'll do the math first. If you looked at this option, rather than an 11% increase, you would see a savings of 6.8%, 6.86%. We're comparing your current enrolled and your current plan to your current enrolled in this plan. So if you've lost or gained a couple of people since we took this snapshot, the numbers would be different. But for our purposes, this is an apples-to-apples comparison dollar-wise. Everybody with me? Okay. So if you flip it over, let's see what makes it less expensive. Okay, you can still see the same doctors, you can still see the same hospitals, none of that's changed. However, you go from, remember you had a shared pay, this one has a $1,500 deductible before the insurance kicks in. I always do that because I always hear that all the time. Okay, so now we're not talking about going to see your doctor because on this particular one you have a copay of $25 if you need to go for bronchitis or something like that. I stepped into a bucket full of poison ivy at my brother-in-law's tree stand, and I had to go see the doctor for a shot of prednisone. That cost me $25. That's a classic example of honesty. And that would be covered here with $25. Okay? Under your current plan, if you did that, and you went to the doctor, it cost you, like I said, $150, you pay $75, we pay $75. If you fell and broke your arm under this plan, you would have to pay $1,500 towards that arm fix, okay? And then co-insurance of another 20%. So your max out of pocket in the current plan is $1,150. Under this proposal, it jumped up to $4,500. So it is 4 times. I call that your exposure number. Okay? But you can see why the dollars are less. I'll put this page right to your tab 2. Tab 2. Tab 2. And then, yep. This also has a prescription drug card in it, which your current plan does not have. So you can go and get a prescription. I picked up my prednisone prescription for my poison ivy. It was $1.87. You would pay that anyway in your current plan, although you'd probably pay, what would that be, 94 cents or whatever. Still a very good plan, not nearly as good as what you have now. Okay? But nonetheless, this is an option for you. There's a lot of information there, so I'm not going to go over each line by line. I don't think anybody wants that, but if you have questions about how something's paid or what might apply, might not apply, let me know. So this is the point where I review. So your current plan, if you renew as is, it's going to be just over 11% increase. Okay? So nothing's changed within that plan, and it's a great plan. There's no doubt about it. Like I said, pretty common among my cities and counties that Blue Cross Blue Shield insures. If you'd like an option, we have one in tab 2. As you can see, the exposure for the individuals is quite a bit more, although still a very good plan in my view.
What's its cost?
What's that?
It would pass the cost of this next one.
So in front of tab 2 is asking to get the cost. In front of tab 2 is a quick match. Yes, and Jamie has it opened up there. So instead of an 11% increase, it would be just short of a 7% decrease. Not over the renewal, but over your current rates right now.
Just keep in mind when you talk about the 5% that's paid to you instead of changing plans.
So
Look at the percentage paid by the employee instead of switching plans just to save money. Just throwing that out there.
So what Jamie is saying is, in some of the other plans that we have, what we call grandfather plans, I'm not going to go into that a great deal, but there is a stipulation by how much an employee versus an employer pays from back in the day. Because you're in this particular plan, those rates are, that restriction's gone. So if for whatever reason, you need to pass a little bit more of the premium dollars on your employees within reason, you're allowed to do that. And I say within reason, it's called the Affordable Care Act. So you can't pass on 90% of the premiums on your employees. I'm just using that as a big example to show you. I run into sometimes if you own a McDonald's or something like that, and all your employees make minimum wage, then you get what's affordable to some based on federal guidelines.
So what is the limit that we can pass on for?
It's based on how much a person earns, and there's a calculation sheet on the back of this. So that's a good question. but it's based on how much a person earns. And that's why I use a McDonald's example, because minimum wage people just can't afford as much as people who make $20 an hour. Okay, we semi-good on tab 1, tab 2, tab 1 is renewal, tab 2 is an option. We certainly have more options out there and available to you. All of them pass on more of the deductible and co-insurance to the employee or to the insured. I only bring one because it tends to muddy the waters quite a bit if I bring more, and everything gets confusing and it all starts looking alike after a little bit. So, but I'll be glad to, if you as a council decide, hey, we need a different option out there, I'm happy to run whatever you guys want to. Okay? Any questions on that? It's a lot. I get it. It's a lot to consume right there. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Everybody okay if I move on just real quick? So I only got a couple more things to look at real quick. Tab 3 is something that I think the city's missing right at the moment, is a dental policy. Dental is something that the vast majority of my cities and counties offer to their employees as a nice benefit package. I brought you 2 different policies here today. If you look at the first, let's look at the second one at the very top. So I'm in tab 3. If you want to look at the very first one, it says comprehensive dental. That's what I'm kind of looking at right here. Basically, what we're trying to do is cover all the day-to-day stuff when you go to see a dentist. Your cleanings, your doctor checks, your x-rays, those things. I think dental insurance is the best bang for your buck in the medical world. If you go see the dentist anyway, you get most of your money back. If you pay it out of your pocket twice a year to go see the dentist, you're probably going to pay $350 between x-rays and all that kind of good stuff. That's about what your premiums cost. And as soon as anything goes wrong, you need to get a filling fix or something like that, that's when the insurance really kicks in. Okay? My other fear with people who don't have dental insurance is they won't go. It always sounds good, oh, I'm just going to pay for it out of my pocket until the compressor in my refrigerator goes out, and then I'm going to wait till next year to go. And oral health is very important to overall body health, not just free treatment. Something to think about. Okay. Yes, sir.
Is this yearly or monthly?
I'm sorry.
Yearly or monthly?
All monthly.
Always monthly.
Always monthly. Okay. So I think it's something that the council should consider. Tab 4, we do have a life insurance policy in place with the employees here. I think it's great. We find that the vast majority of employees, no matter where I am, simply have no life insurance except for what they have at work. It's unfortunate. In my 16-county area right now, I have about 160 groups. Unfortunately, we've had to write checks for about 11 people this year. We get 11 people who are pretty happy to receive a check. Now, we're not talking about a couple $100,000. We're talking about some final expenses. Right now, you offer, and it's great, you offer $10,000 life insurance, which right now would pretty much cover final expenses. We're not talking about building a wing onto the house or kids' college tuition. We're talking about paying for some final expenses. Maybe if you upped it to $20,000, which I recommend, you're talking about maybe a couple of months' living expenses. If you look at that, tab 4, the proposal, $20,000 a month runs $7 a person. So it's very affordable. Okay, so the last item there on your agenda list is talking about Blue Cross and Blue Shield resources. We've got a couple of different things to look at through here. What are we doing to make people healthy? We've got all sorts of kind of cool things. It's clear in the back of your packet, in that little sleeve, the folder deal back there. But they always fall out when I take them out of the car, so I had to do this carefully tonight. We have things called Healthy Options, which is kind of a disease management program. If you want to lose weight or quit smoking, you're dealing with depression, cholesterol issues, maybe some heart issues, something like that. We have some highly trained nurses who are glad to help via telephone. There's no reason for any type of cost associated with this. Just another resource that people can reach out to. Additionally, one of the new things this year, this isn't just this neck of the woods, this is the entire state of Kansas. I guess Wave of the Future is here. You can now talk to a doctor online, called telehealth. Okay, so if it's Saturday night and your child has some type of sniffle or cough or something like that, that's probably not ER worthy, you can get set up an account, go online, you can contact the doctor. You have to have a device with a camera on it, because you're going to be physically talking to somebody. And they can phone you in a prescription, or tell you you need to go get more advanced help. Kind of a neat deal. So we'll see how many people use it, but it is commonplace now in our industry. And we're not talking about heart attacks or broken bones, of course. You know, we're talking about flus or coughs or things like that. You know, we had somebody who worked for the state of Kansas who used it, and her daughter had some rashes on her arm, so she took a couple of pictures, uploaded it to the website. The doctor took a picture of it, and her doctor reviewed the pictures and called in a prescription. And it was the next week she was a little leery, so she went to her own personal doctor just for verification. The doctor said that's exactly what I was doing. So she didn't have to get kids in the car, she didn't have to go wait in line, she didn't have to go wait in the operatory, all that kind of stuff. So kind of neat little deal, no additional cost associated with that. So those are some of the different resources we have out there. We appreciate you doing business with Blue Cross. I'm not sure if it's in any of our pamphlets right now, but we are celebrating 75 years being with the state of Kansas right now. So pretty proud of that. It's kind of a big year for us. We have no idea if you're asking what's going to go on in Washington. Nobody knows. I don't think Washington knows what's going on right now. And what you see going on in Washington largely affects the individual side, not so much this side. Okay, so even if they cross their T's and dot their I's, we're probably not looking at any change until 2018 or 2019 at this point. It just takes too much time to change things. So that's it. That's all I got. I probably took over my allotted time, but I do okay.
Quick question.
Sure.
Yeah. If the city decides not to offer dental, can the employees pay 100%?
So that's a good question. So the question is this something that the city has to have everybody sign up for? Can the employees do it on their own? Certainly we get more participation if the city pays for it. There's no doubt about that. Can the employees do it on their own? Yes. Depending on which plan you look at, got to have about 70% sign up. Okay. It's a pre-tax deal, so the $30 you see there is really going to be $26 or $27, whatever it might be when you look at a pre-tax deal. But nonetheless, yes, that's a good question. Okay, that it? Jamie has my number. Actually, Jamie has Debbie's number. Debbie gets in contact with me. I office out of Hutch. Debbie is my account administrator who works with Jamie, and she works in Dodge City, so it's kind of a long distance relationship. It's kind of hard to do that, but we do it. We make it work. So we appreciate everything you've done for us. And if you have any other questions, we can come back another time and get back to you. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You talk to other providers, have other companies.
We have another, it's like I don't know what it's called, another, hang on guys.
Let me include you. Jim asked if I was looking into any other providers, and we do have someone that I think has been looked at in the past. He contacted me, so I was supposed to get him information. I think Cam got him like a list of everyone we have. So, but he doesn't offer. He will not offer it to us if he cannot match our plan. And in the past, I know he's not been able to. So, but he is looking into that.
Any other comments, council? We'll discuss it amongst yourselves.
I think we bring everybody in, commissioners and sheriff, and bring it into this. Let's give some numbers. What will we talk about next? Or this issue?
Do you want to just,
Just try to take a look at this information in the next council meeting.
We have to decide by December 3rd.
I'll have to double check the open enrollment times, but he asked if with Aflac coming for open enrollment the week of Thanksgiving, I think the Tuesday. We have Aflac coming for open enrollment the week of Thanksgiving.
All done on Blue Cross Blue Shield? Okay, county attorney, county commissioners, and the sheriff.
Bobby, why don't we bring every commissioners and sheriff up here so we can talk, and this is, between ourselves. We have a mayor council form of government. We don't have a town hall form of government. We have an elected representative form of government. Bring them up here where we can talk to them and ask them questions between commissioners, et cetera.
Okay, we can do that. Put some chairs up there.
Yeah. Turn chairs, table, squares up.
Legally, Jim, I think, should be, probably should talk with
That's what I'm thinking. We'll answer questions.
Okay, this is about the county attorney, I assume. I'd like to hear, maybe the council would like to hear your point on this.
Well, I guess my position, if anybody who knows me, I've been a prosecutor in Hutchinson for 15, 20 years. I've been pro law enforcement my entire life. What you all do with your police department is your function, not mine. I hope you keep your law enforcement, but that's your decision. I can't make that call for you. What I can tell you as county attorney, I just made some notes, KSA 22-2601 says the district court shall have exclusive jurisdiction to try all cases of felony and other criminal cases arising under the law of safety. Okay? So, your misdemeanors in your city are your cases. Now, I have filed some of your cases. The police department has sent them to me. I don't know why, if you have a court, if you have a prosecutor, if you have a judge, why you're not using those. Okay? I can tell you, somebody said, why am I not filing cases? Well, I can tell you, I went back and looked. Last year, the county attorney here filed 44 cases. To date, I said we, Greg in the back, my assistant, we're kind of the team. We have filed 83 cases. Chief Brown just brought in 2 cases yesterday, so we're not even through the month of November, and I've pretty much doubled what they do. We implemented a diversion program. We've gone through 53 diversions at this point. So as far as filing cases, yeah, we're filing cases at a pretty good pace. I don't know how you I see a gentleman here that was here last week and said it was going to cost you $100,000. I don't know where that figure came from. And he's not here tonight to tell me how he came up with that.
Right here.
Yeah. How did you arrive at $100,000?
It's just based on everything from court appearances for myself. I don't know where there's going to be an increase in the need as far as judge appears once a month now, whether there's going to be an increase there. I'm talking jail time. I'm talking the fact that the city does not have a courtroom, which is considered in violation of these current, I'm trying to find it, violation of current statutes as far as operating as a court. And I'll be honest, like I'm over exaggerating because I don't want to go to the city and tell the city it's not going to cost hardly anything and be wrong on that. I think you requested some information from the clerk, and I made 2 court appearances in 2018. And so if I have to appear once or twice more each month, there's going to be additional expenses on the part of the city in that regard.
Well, here's what I can tell you as far as expenses. I mean, I have sent 3 cases back to the city. 2 battery cases and a dog case. The 2 battery cases, I don't know what Mr. Brevelin's diversion program is. I know our diversion program, both the battery cases would have qualified. If they had applied for diversion, you wouldn't have had a court appearance by your prosecutor. You wouldn't have had a defense attorney. You would have jail time. You would have rest, essentially. I talked to Mr. Brevelin a few weeks ago as far as cost, but I can tell you as far as cost, Judge Walters is in the courtroom, she can answer any question you have too. But the first question was, we can't afford an intoxicant for DUIs. You don't buy an intoxicant. KDHE provides it to you, okay? That's no cost out of your pocket. Now, the Sheriff's Department has an intoxilizer. I did some checking on those records. There have been 3 tests done this year, all done by the Sheriff's Department. No St. John PD has done a test yet. Okay. In my request for information, I understand currently there's only 1 officer qualified to do that test. Now, we're getting apparently some other officers to do it, but in visiting with the sheriff, they provide the records custodian. Okay, that's the guy that keeps make sure the machine is functioning properly, all the records. Otherwise, if you're certified, you can operate the machine. They will, and the sheriffs will let the police departments use their machine. I can tell you KDHE is not going to give you a machine. And the reason I say that is it's based on use. And so, bigger cities that use it a lot are going to have 1, 2, 3 machines. Stafford County, you're going to have 1 machine. No more use than you have on it, you're going to have 1 machine. So what I'm telling you is, you're not going to have to pay for an intoxicant. That's not a cost. As far as defense attorney, I don't know how you all want to do it if you get to that point, okay? Not in every case are they qualified to have an attorney. There has to be a mandatory jail sentence. So for every traffic ticket, dog ticket, whatever, you're not always going to have appointed counsel. And if you hire counsel, you can either say, okay, we're going to pay you $50 per case. I mean, I know some cities it's $50 per case, and if it's tried, it's $100. Or you can put them on a retainer fee of so many dollars per month. That's entirely up to you. But at the end of the case, you can charge that fee back to the defendant. Okay, you can say you're going to pay us back for your attorney. Same with jail time. I mean, we usually send people to Rice County or Barton County. There's a contract. You would sign a contract with whatever jail you want to use, and it's however many dollars per day. And if a person's going to do 48 hours in jail, that's part of their court cost. They reimburse the city for it. So there shouldn't be any cost for an intoxilizer, for a defense attorney, for jail. That's all money that you can recoup. Okay? Your court cost, if Mr. Breville wants to make more court appearances, raise your court cost to cover these things. Okay? I mean, I have called literally, and Regina Golf is sitting in the back room. She's from Pratt. She's the Pratt City attorney. She does not send her misdemeanors to the county. I have called Kingwood County and talked to Matt Rickey. I called Barton County and talked to Judge Pike. I called Bryce County and talked to Scott McPherson. And I called McPherson County and talked to Greg Benefit. None of them do city misdemeanors. The cities take care of their own. Okay? Now, the other thing I want to say too is, I had a case, Chief Brown called and said, I've got this case, I think it should go to district court. Okay, it was an accident with a traffic case. And I said, okay, Chief, tell me why. We had a conversation, and I filed the case. If there's a case that there's a reason that it should come to district court, all of us, everyone has to just pick up the phone, call me and say, here's why I think it should go. We may not always agree, but I'm certainly willing to have that conversation. You know, if it's looking at a long-term jail sentence or whatever, if there's a reason, call me and talk to me. I'm happy to talk about it. Not going to tell you I'm always going to agree, but I'm happy to talk about it. What other notes I have, but
I think part of our concern here is that we're a community of 1,200 people maybe. We don't have the resources to spend, we're not going to have the resources of Brad or Kingman or Great Bend or any of the communities that you mentioned. And it's because of lack of resources and the fact that 90% of our revenue and our community budget comes out of our utility bill. So we do not have the revenue to have a really highly active municipal court and to make it profitable. Therefore, that's what I think is our concern, is our financial implications of that. And if somebody's indigent, they're not going to pay us back for either attorney fees or jail time.
Well, and I'll just say, Mike, you're incorrect. You can't charge jail time on claims defense. And the statute isn't whether it's a mandatory jail sentence. The statute is whether the judge has any kind of reason to believe that that person could be sentenced to jail. And so I've got a domestic violence case now that I'm going to require or have to have a court-appointed immediate defense attorney if that person qualifies in order to move forward on my case. Only because there's a chance that a person could serve a jail sentence, even though there may not be a mandatory jail sentence. The municipal court statute is specific about what can and can't be passed on to the defendant in a municipal court case. And I think the max, if you add up all the fees, is only like $105.
I disagree with that, so I guess we'll just.
And I can quote the statute and get a copy, or email a copy of what we've done here, but it's specific about no person shall be assessed the cost of the administration of justice in a municipal court except for, and provides 4 different examples. And some of those are related to law libraries and law enforcement training centers.
Okay, well, I know other jurisdictions do charge for the jail time and the court appointments.
I don't know about court appointments. I did not say that. But again, if the person is qualified for indigent defense, we're assuming that they're going to be on probation for a lengthy period of time in order to pay off their fees and fines. And with all due respect to Regina, Pratt has a full-time municipal court clerk. Kingman County, for all I know, Matt Rickey's secretary is a full-time municipal court.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't have a municipal court clerk, and I don't know if that's even where the job description is right now. Well, don't get me wrong, I'll do whatever the city wants me to do. I just want the city to understand that it's going to be more expensive than it is now. Whether that's a little or whether it's a lot, I just don't know.
But I just have an issue when people show up and say it's going to cost $100,000 and then everybody gets excited. Because I don't know where that number came from.
Some of that was related to the need that officers are going to have to go and get people on the court. Some of that was associated with unknowns as far as equipment they're going to need. And the other thing is, the office grinds to a halt when we do municipal court. We're going to have to move municipal court to after 5 o'clock probably.
Well, here's what I can tell you. The county has the same issues. I mean, when you're talking about transporting a person to and from, there's the sheriff, the undersheriff, and 2 deputies. And so if you've got people transported in 2 different directions, it brings them to a problem.
And again, I'm not disagreeing with that. My job to the city is just to explain to them that it's going to be more expensive in 2018 than what 2017.
I understand, but I also think, I had a case involving Chief Saylor's family yesterday. The person walked in and took the criminal damage. They were assessed a fine and court costs. There were no fees, no costs, nothing. That was pure revenue that went back to the county. That would be revenue to the city. Why you're not doing that, I don't understand.
Until things shake out, I don't know if that's really true or not. I don't have the age and calculation of some of those people that pay. I know in other cases, when had people, cases continue repeatedly over and over again, trying to get them to shape things such as cost of dogs running on water, which it's been, an expense probably to few fine.
But the other cases you have, when the person wants to use face upon the cost, offset. And without knowing some numbers, I think it's purely speculative. And then it's it's going to cost $100,000. I think it's just
I don't
Everything's at
I can know how it's all hard to show. It was just my numbers.
the county always prosecutes the city as far as.
Since I've been here and when I was started, I don't think you guys had a city attorney. No. I mean, when we did Greensburg, it was kind of the same range. It was supposed to be criminal matter prosecuted.
It's my understanding the last city prosecutor that prosecuted cases was Judge Bennett. And then when he took the bench, whoever replaced him, I don't know who it was. I tried to get over the vision to these on vacation, so when they did the front, it was good.
30 years ago.
It's been a while, but I guess I just, our justification is just because this is how it's always been. I mean, if it was not right.
I guess to me, you ran for the office.
I'm sorry?
You ran for the office. That's the way it's always been. I don't see why we have to change it. The city doesn't want to.
Because there are misdemeanors that occur in your city that your office for the tickets, pay a prosecutor, pay a judge.
That's my personal view. I think what was answered in finances, whether John's projection may be slightly inflated. Anytime I've ever ran a business or anything, if I doubled what I thought it was going to cost, I was probably still underestimating its cost. If we get stuck with any sort of an indigent defense, I don't think we're going to go there.
But if you don't know how many cases
We
there
don't,
are.
you can't project who's going to be a criminal law.
Right.
You can't do that crime. I mean, so therefore you can't project how many cases you're going to have. So we pull the number out of the hat and say, is this reasonable?
Then my question is, I've sent 3 cases back
Yeah.
this year. So what projection do you have for 3
We
cases?
don't have
One of which being, it's a dog case, and nobody's going to go to jail for
Nobody's gonna-
anything, and we're not going to give them a return. So, I guess I don't understand.
I mean, if I can make a suggestion to council, we can certainly try. I mean, there's no reason why this Mike and I couldn't work together to figure out. My only fear, and maybe Mike can leave you some fear, is that the county's going to start taking those cases where there could be higher fees. Your UIs, your automatic fines there, and it's something that leaving us with kind of junk cases where it may not be enough to support. And that's my concern.
As far as I'm concerned, the city cases are yours unless you call me and say, I think this should go to district court because that. So if you've got it in the right case and you want to keep it on,
And I mean, as far as,
DUI,
First time you apply for conversion, there's some fees and costs that the city could make. And so if you fund those items, I think as long as your city officer sends it to you, that's.
We can certainly try. I think the projection, I have no idea. As far as Judge Walters and I communicate well as far as whether she's up front with me, whether she thinks I should be in court. I won't make a first appearance. There's no need to be a first appearance. There's certain fees and fines that she can assess to somebody who is guilty that I don't need for. So we try to be able to eliminate a lot of appearances that way. It's usually only something. Sometimes a trial case. A lot of cases usually just one. Everything counts in the dollar case.
Isn't this whole thing part of the bigger picture that we talked about of consolidation of services maybe between the county sheriff's office and the city office, et cetera, until we decide what we're going to do there and review all of our options between consolidation? It's all kind of a moot point, I believe.
Well, I don't know if I understand your comment correctly, and I think I do, but I just want to be clear to my position that that issue is separate from my issue of prosecuting cases.
Quite true.
I mean, my concern is that somehow I'm going to be blamed if you make one decision or the other, that
There has to be a scapegoat. You look rather susceptible.
so that's my concern.
It's either you or John.
It would seem to me, though, if there is going to be any kind of, I'll just use the word merger or combination or whatever, that since the commissioner here, commissioners are going to have to just do certain things that are not covered by law, which are going to be your service of process type things for municipal court, your health, environment violations, or other things. So typically, you enter into an agreement with the county commission or the sheriff to provide those types of services. And so I think that's probably the starting point if there's going to be a discussion. If you repeal the police force, establish a police force, there's not going to be anybody there covering these types of things. Because they don't have any obligation to enforce city ordinance. Not to put them on the spot, but that's probably.
And I just want to be clear, I'm not advocating in any way to get rid of your police force. I mean, I've worked with officers, I don't have any complaints, so I'm not in any way advocating.
Council, have any other questions for the commissioners?
I have a question. Let's just get down to the nitty-gritty with this whole thing. I'd like to know who has the final say as to what the sheriff's department does. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that you three gentlemen right here? No. What I'm talking about, if city council here was to get rid of our police department and we wanted to utilize the sheriff's department, you three gentlemen have the final say on that. Okay. All right. I'm against this. I'm against getting rid of our police department. And I'm not going to put you gentlemen on the spot and ask you right here where you stand on it, because it's just inappropriate in my opinion. But I don't think that we need to burden the sheriff's department with more work than what they've already got. And I believe that our police department is doing a fine job. They've been there, Johnny on the spot. just about every time I've seen him. In fact, here last week, Chief Taylor responded to a call behind the library and took care of the situation rather quickly. I don't know why we're talking about this again. We've got a lot of people that have come to the last city council meeting and they showed their support for the police department and not getting rid of it. And if I'm reelected, I plan on fighting for the police department. I do not think we need to get rid of it.
Just to clarify, I'm not for the county commission. What they want. I think what I'm just trying to say is, in order for the ordinances to be enforced, if that's the way the city went, the city would probably, I guess the city doesn't have to, would probably want to make sure those ordinances are going to be enforced. That we need to enter into an agreement with the county. As far as the county and such, I have no idea, but it seems to me that before there's any further discussion, that probably is required. So if they're not going to do it, and you want your ordinances enforced, then you're left to a police force or appointment of a manager.
We need somebody to enforce ordinances.
Right.
And what do those qualifications have to do?
But, what do you mean by qualifications?
Qualifications to
Somebody to enforce
ordinances. Code enforcement.
That's
me, man. That's me. I'm the dude. I'm the dude.
I mean, usually those agreements say that the sheriff is guaranteeing a certain level of policing activity within the city limits. And I'll be honest, it usually involves the city writing a check to the county, it's not to the county companies. It's a little more than just enforcement. It's day-to-day policing.
I was requested to come to that meeting. Absolutely. It was not my idea. It was approached to me, so I came, so I was come and talk. That's understood.
Yeah, just about everyone that I've spoken to, I've told that this was not your idea, or the county commissioner's idea. This was something that was brought up during council. Again, I'm against it. Don't think we need to get rid of our police department. Well, absolutely, absolutely. We've had a long history of cooperating with county commissioners, city council. I think we need to continue that. I mean, for the betterment of this community and this county. But I appreciate you gentlemen coming here this evening, coming, listening to us, talking, and you sir coming and explaining a little bit more everything on this. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And, quite frankly, I thoroughly disagree with Mark. We've got 5 rural men in town, and 2 banks, 3 insurance companies, hardware store, lumber yard. I have not seen one active businessman come to this meeting and express.
I don't think it needs to be an active businessman that comes in here. What it needs to be is the community that comes in here that speaks to us and lets us know what's going on here. Well, then you speak so everyone else can hear you.
I said, we have 2 banks in town, 3 insurance agents, hard store, 5 oil men in production, freight company, trucking company. I have not seen one active businessman come here and have support. That's kind of a basic community. That's who puts businesses uptown. I've seen a lot of people that coming in and complain about everything, but I haven't seen the people that are putting jobs out here, the job creators, come here and complain. The ones that talk to me have a different view than Mark. And I respectfully disagree, but I allowed you to speak. Thank you for letting me.
Thank
Yeah.
you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Not wasting any time.
There's a businessman right there.
Businessman.
There's one in here too.
You got a businessman.
There's more than one.
Oh.
How's the violation?
Come back up.
We need to go back and talk about it. I'd like to, what I would do is probably send a letter to the bar association. Before we move on to something else, I'd like to send a letter to the bar association and surrounding counties and solicit some bids for just an hourly any defense attorney because we get, there are certain guidelines, federal quality guidelines that are usually used to determine whether someone's eligible for it, but I hate for something to be filed without having somebody in his hands. I just, and maybe they get a letter to council, by next council.
Adam,
Okay, appreciate you guys moving me around the agenda to accommodate for me being able to go to school and see the robotics open house. The first thing I'd like to discuss, I hope everybody has the paperwork. Last time when we discussed the pay issues, you guys needed to look over the position descriptions, the pay scale, I guess you would call it, pay classifications. I guess I'd like to hear your thoughts, or if you want to hear my thoughts, or however you want to proceed with that is fine with me.
I would like to hear your thoughts and concerns and views on that.
Essentially, one of the ways this came about was essentially, in my eyes, is an equality in pay. At the present time, myself and my staff, aside from our city superintendent, are the longest serving employees, really by a long shot in the city. And currently, I feel there's a bit of a discrepancy in the hourly wage that some of my employees receive compared to some others that haven't served the city and the citizens as long. And my request essentially is to make that equal. I think somebody that has a large amount of experience, which I believe I articulated, I hope appropriately enough to the council when you guys asked me about that, in regards to the certification of my officers, why I feel that they deserve to get a better wage. So essentially, the pay range for a St. John police officer, if they start out with no experience, is $14 an hour, and it goes up to a top out of $19.30 an hour. The sergeant, the pay range is from $14.65 an hour to $21.50 an hour, and the chief of police starts at $16.20 an hour, and could top out at $23.75 an hour. Essentially looking at the years of experience compared to other city employees, whether or not the individual has any supervisory responsibilities and things like that, that I have some numbers that I do believe would be appropriate. Are you guys following along? Okay, you got some of the faces. I just want to make sure that we're all hearing the same thing. So right now, Officer Brown, he's going on 8 years of service with in March of next year. He'll have been with the police department for 8 years. He was recently promoted to master patrolman to reflect his years of service and essentially his ability to do his job with very minimum amount of supervision. He currently makes $16.50 an hour. I would request that he would make a minimum of $18 an hour. Sergeant Rudy, which the number, he recently had a performance evaluation, so he'll look at his report. He's currently at $18.84 an hour. Sergeant Rudy has been with our police department since 2005. He recently celebrated 12 years with our police department. He is a sergeant, has numerous instructor certifications, and does supervise 2 individuals. So as I said, his current pay is $18.84 an hour. I would request that he make a minimum of $20 an hour. I don't have overtime or anything like that, so I currently make $20.87 an hour. I've been with the police department for 13 years, supervised 3 employees, and also as well have the obvious liability decision-making that goes on with the police department. I would ask one of 2 options. I would ask that I would be raised to a minimum of $22.25 an hour, or put me as an hourly employee instead of a salary employee. That would give me the opportunity to earn overtime.
Under this pay plan, it shifts, you can give up to a 3% raise on the merit score. You do that yearly, I guess. And it says you're not supposed to receive more than that unless it's brought to council. That's something you do yearly.
That is
not very appreciated.
Correct. It's a yearly performance evaluation. So what it is essentially there's a list of questions. You rate them on how you feel they perform at each question. And then you get to the end and it's a certain number that's divided by how many numbers you checked, and that comes up with your percentage, and it's from 0 to 3% on a percentage side.
I you have your employee evaluation, Bob, did you review the chief's annual review?
Yes, I did.
And what was that annual review?
If there's going to be discussion about
Can that be done there, is that got to be closed?
It should be anything that would potentially be embarrassing to that person. If we're talking about an entire staff, if we're asking for periods for everybody, that can be done. If we start to be done in nitty-gritty, evaluating individuals, it should be
I did some rough work from this pay scale that Jamie gave us. We pay 36%, almost 37% employee benefits of total payroll. We just listened to Blue Cross Blue Shield, wanted to stack another 11%. I realize you can't eat Blue Cross Blue Shield, you can't eat medical expense, you can't take it home. When you look at the total pay package and the total benefit package, I think we're more than judicious in the way we pay people. And almost everybody here that Adam's talking about is in the middle, upper range at the pay scale. And he's asking for virtually a 10% overall pay increase. When the cost of living was less than 2, I think it's outrageous.
Part of the reason I'm asking for it is this pay plan was adopted very, very long after all of us have been employed here. And the other thing is, it wasn't outrageous for the city to give another employee a very, very generous raise. I'm asking for my employees to be compensated equally.
Well, you know, there are some places that you work that is against this is public, and I know where my essentially any other person's pay scale.
Well, with all due respect, city pay is public
It's
information.
public, I understand that. I don't think your pay scales are out of line for education level, et cetera. I talked to the chief, the mayor at Medicine Lodge, which is a community of 3,600, 3 times Leon. They pay their chief $36,000. They don't have to pay that. I don't think it's out of line for the city of this size, what we're paying right now. And I don't, it's my view.
Council, anybody else got anything to add to it or say?
10% pay rate is outrageous, I think. That's a little over 10.
First of all, I appreciate the discussion. If you feel that that is out of line, you have a number you feel will be more appropriate.
I could give a number to work with.
Do I? I'm saying you feel that a different amount would be appropriate.
I'm not sure I understand
If you feel that what I'm asking for is too much, do you have a different idea of what you feel would be fair or appropriate to offer for a raise?
So the inflation index is 2%. Federal.
Well,
I know last
if
time
you don't agree, I'm
last
just
time I had a
asking.
COLA was 40 years ago, 45 years ago, so. The only place I've seen COLAs in government employees. I'm one of 4 sitting here, we had Councilmember missing, so.
Ron? Mark?
Yeah,
Sharon?
I appreciate everything you guys do, but, you know, if you look at your total benefit package, I mean, it's pretty good. It's more than what, you know, your hourly rate. You may not be very happy with that. You have excellent benefits here in the city. It's excellent.
I don't disagree with that. I actually had a conversation with one of my employees today that's going through some major medical stuff, and we both agreed that our benefits are very well. Again, I'm asking for a guy that's been here for a lot of years to be paid somewhere close to somebody that's been here for 6 months, and he supervises more people. I mean, we don't even offer our guys that work 3 separate shifts in 1 week any kind of shift differential pay.
Well,
He might work a day shift, an evening shift, and a night shift all in the same week to cover the hours that you guys asked us to cover. I mean, I'm not being argumentative, and I'm not saying that our benefits aren't great, because our benefits are great. It's one of the reasons we work here, because they are good.
going down the list, just some rough figures I ran. At the department, it went from 32% of salary to as high as 39% of salary on just medical benefits alone. Now, I guess if you're willing to take less medical benefits, I'm willing to talk more salary. Higher deductibles, you looked at Blue Cross Blue Shield, he gave us several options. One says 7%, but it puts more of a burden on the employees. You know, and I think anytime you look at benefit package, that retirement, everything that you get from the municipal employee this is extreme. So it's more than private industry. And salaries aren't out of line with private industry, from what I know people are paying. Without Kuipers, without 401ks.
Any other discussion?
I think that we ask these officers to do a job that when they go out of their homes every morning or evening, they don't know whether they're going to come back. And I've heard the argument before that this is Little Sleepy St. John. We have no idea what is coming down the two major highways that come past us. We have officers who have been loyal, who have done their jobs, who continue to do their jobs despite some of the rhetoric that has been thrown at them. And quite frankly, I think that some of them feel unsupported. I think that this council needs to step back, stop and think, and put themselves in their shoes. I can't tell, I don't know whether anyone else on this council has put the uniform on, whether it be fire, EMT, police, or military, but I have. And I know what it's like. I know what it's like for my loved ones to worry about whether I'm coming home or not. And those are the people that I think about. So you can throw all the numbers that you want out there, but that's still going to be my number one priority is our officers and their loved ones. I'm sure that we could come up with some type of compromise with some of this, but we really shouldn't have to compromise when it comes to these officers who go out there and put their lives on the line. We've heard quite a few people at the last meeting show their support. Those are the people that put us into these positions. Those are the people that we need to be listening to right now. I don't have all the answers on this. But I think there's a better way of doing this so we can keep our officers that want to stay in this community and protect this community. I don't know what else to say. I said more than enough, and I think I sound like a broken record for the most part. But I'm going. If I'm lucky enough to be re-elected to this position, I plan on still fighting for our police department and our fire department because those are essential services to our community, something that we vitally need.
This was supposed to be everybody's table. It's the deadliest jobs in America. Police are 15th on the list nationwide. The deadliest occupations for homicide are taxi drivers, chauffeurs, clerks, those logging, fishers, aircraft pilots, traction workers, roofers, garbage man, truck drivers, ranchers, construction laborers are ahead of police and fire as being deadly jobs. This comes out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's not hyperbole. They're available to look at the charts. Jamie's supposed to put them on everybody's day.
Actually, we agreed to make one copy.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I think the whole thing, I mean, if you guys don't hear, the whole thing needs looked at. I mean, this was adopted, Adam's right. This was adopted before, like, they just now started the 3%. When did the 3% increases start?
Less.
So they worked here for 12 years. Can you count on your hand probably how many raises that you've gotten?
you know?
I've gotten merit raise every year.
But it's never been the 3%, correct? Or it's not always been.
Always been 3%.
That's been a new thing, like, and I know that you probably have given cost of living raises, but, and this is part of the HR stuff that I've been talking to you guys about, because it's not correct. I mean, the whole thing, Jeff, how long have you been here, Jeff?
Altogether,
Yeah.
30 years.
Okay. Look at the totals, I mean, none of it's right. It all needs to be looked at, if you ask me. Sitting up here telling me what job is deadliest is totally irrelevant. I mean, if you guys would come into the office, you know, it's about what we're doing, and if you're, wherever you're working, you keep your employees there, it's just part of it. If we need to look at the whole thing and review all of it, then that's what we need to do, but sitting up here arguing is not gonna fix anything, and I'm not gonna sit here and do it.
I do think that we need to take into account that the benefits that they're giving too.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is a big lump sum right there.
I don't disagree. I just think the whole thing needs to be reworked, because, I mean,
Because it's not fair, like, say, you have an employee that doesn't take insurance or is single, and somebody that's married and has 6 kids, the cost difference, that is not fair. We need to change that.
yeah, it all needs looked at. And I'm working on it. Not this part of it, that's your job.
But, I mean, that's part of your wage, that benefit, but,
And all of those totals are right there on that new page right now.
that's a big chunk right there.
I mean, we have 3 employees that don't get medical, am I correct?
There's more than
Medical
that.
from other sources.
4, well, 5 now with our part-time. But that's also their choice to not have it.
Yeah, I know. But
That
since you
shouldn't-
provide,
that's
since we
irrelevant as well.
provide full family coverage for some, that's an extremely good benefit.
I'm single and have insurance, it's right there.
You can have more kids.
No thanks. Okay, can I insure my dog?
I'm just saying we need to look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
Because it all
I think we need to
has
have like some workshops or something to all sit down, and we can even maybe see if that Joni with Ventura can sit down with us. With the HR, she would be able to maybe sit down with us and guide us into, or I can work with her and she can give me some of those as well, because I have sent her the pay plan and.
Well, I'd have to agree with you, Jamie, because, you know, there are standards in the industries about what percentage should be benefits, et cetera, versus
Right.
salaries.
But, I mean, we just continue to keep having this, it's an argument, that's all it is. And I'm gonna help try to find a solution, because I'm honestly tired of it. So if you guys want, I would be more than willing to get that information, and we can schedule some extra sessions.
Workshop or something.
Workshops,
I'll
yes.
be able to-
Okay.
Thank you, Jamie.
So you have something else to
Yes. Okay. Well, I see it as a discussion, not an argument. I appreciate you guys looking into it. I know the worst you could say is no. But I feel it's my responsibility, in my position, to speak for myself and my officers and bring this stuff to your attention. And that brings me to the next thing I'd like to just take a couple minutes to discuss. I feel it's important that we've come to a point in time now where we've had the discussions with the sheriff, we've had discussions with the county attorney, to come to some sort of a decision regarding the police department. The biggest reason for that is that the guys that work for me need to know or have a good idea if they're still going to have a job next month or in a couple of months. there was a council member that made a comment that this was somehow, how all this came about was somehow my fault because I came to the city council and said, oh my gosh, 2 people are leaving, what are we going to do about it? And that's not how that happened. I came to the city council and I said there was a possibility of 2 people leaving and I would like the opportunity to begin advertising to fill those positions. And then that snowballed into what we kind of have going on here. In the past, there's been a very large amount of turnover in the maintenance positions of the city, and not once have I seen the council go and start talking about another entity taking over their jobs. So I would respectfully ask that you guys either come to a decision tonight or come to some sort of consensus so I and my employees have an idea of where we stand in the future of our police department. I would ask that you would consider taking a vote in either keeping the police department and allowing us to move on with filling our 4th full-time position, or give us a semblance of some kind of a time frame that you think that something else might take place.
Mr. Mayor, you asked Marshall and I to talk to other police departments, review our options so we would know what to, so we can come back to you with some form of plan. That is correct. The ones that we talked about talking to are Kinsley. My wife works in Kinsley. She seems to think that they're a pretty good plan with a countywide option there. We were going to go talk to, I believe it's City110717, people out there that have good countywide, make a connection with people that are happy with the countywide after this one. Perhaps talk to Medicine Lodge, the city, similar to our size, and see how they get along with it, just so we have county and municipal. I don't have any animus towards any city employee. What I see overall is we're shrinking the entity size, revenue, our age, and consolidation of services. I feel is, for myself, it's personal feeling, and I don't have enough information that we can't afford everything that we want. And consolidation of schools, it's going to happen, whether we like it or not. Consolidation of services, because our population's
Well, in the end, I don't like this, I don't necessarily inherently have an issue with that. But I think it would be beneficial, like I said, for my employees to know where they stand and what they can look at as far as the future may hold for their jobs. And I also think that we've heard overwhelmingly from the citizens that they desire to keep their police department. I fully respect the points that you brought up about business people, but the fact is they are here, and there is nobody here saying in the crowd that I have heard that they wish to consolidate services.
I don't want it. I'd rather keep our police department. DCF the other day said we need it because Jimmy George had these elections.
This is not a public discussion. This is kind of open up to public.
No, I was just trying to echo that. Unfortunately, part of our responsibility is to keep order in the meeting as well. So, but again, I like I said from the beginning, I feel it's my responsibility as the chief and leader of this department to bring the concerns to you guys and then be the voice for my employees.
I think council ought to think about it. We need to look at the whole deal, and I suggest we look at the whole deal. I also understand what you're saying about consolidation. You know, it'd be great if he could pay everybody $1 million now. But he would have. In fact, the matter is, it's per capita, the money's great. Put an X on every house in town. 10 years from now, you're gonna have a whole bunch of empty houses. Because we've got an older population, including myself. So, I think we need to look at it. If you guys choose to.
I guess the answer, yeah, I'm in complete favor of keeping the police department. Can't speak for everybody. We have one that's not here tonight. I don't know whether it should be voted on or not, but.
Thank you.
I don't have enough information. Quite frankly, I don't have enough information. I'm really looking for more information.
Can you tell me how long that might take?
Well, my time's limited, so it shouldn't take too long. I don't know. I think we should do something in the next 30 days.
I think everybody knows where I stand on this, Adam. So you have my support on this.
I would like to see the council grant Jamie to see how many municipalities pays 95% of the health insurance. I'd like to know what the other municipalities are doing.
Can that be part of my pay plan stuff?
See how it's paying 95% of health insurance. Now, that would make a big difference in there, the rest.
That may be something you can get.
Because I know in the private sector, the majority of the people that I know, they pay for the employee. The family's their responsibility.
What's the county get?
What's the county do?
Nobody gets their insurance paid for the county. If you want it, you pay for it.
Well, they don't even offer it for the employee?
Nope, not without paying for it.
Our county pays 100%.
No, the county doesn't pay a percentage.
80/20 on the deductible.
My wife works for Florida Hospital, pays dad. I think she pays 50%, all of the family, 50% of the family. And I don't know what the deductible is, but I'm gonna say it's
You want to get
I've always had some
35,000.
insurance. What's up with it? I like that.
I think that's an option to look at, guys. Find out what the rest of them are doing. Because that health insurance is one huge amount of money.
And just to clarify something that happened, that Jim said earlier, Bobby, you directed 2 council members to research this issue a little more.
Yes, I did. When you guys were talking about going to the sheriff, I said we need to get somebody, and I put 2 council members to go look at it and see what we can come up with.
I just wanted to look at it.
No,
You wondered what, John?
I just wanted to make sure that was something said out here.
What information do you guys need from, like, the count? Like, is there something that I can do to get this information rolling for the police department? Like, what information needs, because we've been talking about this for quite a while too. I'll go collect any information that needs to be collected.
Yep, just to kind of intervene, I had a discussion with, and I can't remember his name, I have to go back and look, somebody with the Kansas Department, or what is it, Kansas League of Municipalities, about issues related to city and municipal police force enforcement and county police enforcement. And they deal with that stuff on a daily and always on a daily basis. I would, you guys are members of that organization, I would start there and then give you an idea of what questions you can ask, if you're looking for something, or area at the same time. That would be my suggestion. And I can't remember if it was Larry I talked to, or if it was
Eric, that I usually talk to.
Eric.
is that okay with council? Allow Jamie to do that?
That's all I've got.
Anything else?
That's all I got. Thank you.
Moving on, executive session.
Put down the floor plan.
Okay. Okay, we'll cancel the executive session. Any other business we need to talk to each other?
Oh yeah, Arbor Day. Everyone go plant a tree on November 9th. Here you go.
Where's the next meeting?
Yeah, you guys want to have a regular spot, so I can hear.
Just want to make sure.
So is the public done being able to speak?
That was the first
Citizen comments
3
are
minutes.
at the beginning of the meeting.
Oh, it was?
So the meeting's not over.
Meeting's not over yet.
We walked into it.
Yes. Yeah, I even checked the computer. I'm really not sure why it wasn't working.
Well, we've been having issues here with the Wi-Fi, so
Maybe it was
it might be just the school.
because it, like I pulled it up and it was showing X on all my files. Can I ask?
You have election
In the
results.
past, didn't you, I don't know if I can add this, but in the past, I think you guys talked about like days off for Christmas. Is that something that has to be approved through you guys? Do I need to put that on the agenda for next time?
We're done with the meeting. Are we done with the meeting? No. No? Okay.
Signature. Jimmy didn't sign anything.
Here's something I need to sign still.
We're still in meeting. We're still open session.
No.
I guess I would just put it back to City Hall and we have to move it, because I don't know how many people can show up for the meeting, but if we have to move it again.
That's more inconvenient for me.
I'd say City Hall, this is impossible.
I'm just saying, like having to plan it there and then having to move it is more inconvenient. Like if we were to have to move it, you asked my opinion first, so I'm gonna give it to you.
Sure.
Like,
So
it's,
you'd rather have it here and start?
I would rather just have it wherever we're gonna accommodate everyone, because having to plan it there and then ended up having to move is more of a hassle.
I put it on the motion to have,
Just have yeah. Before we move into executive session. We just have to state where it's going to be at, so everyone knows.
Just make a motion to have the city council here.
That's what we have to do.
Jamie now.
I'm sorry, I got maybe
yeah, next city council meeting, next council spot.
November 21st.
I'll second that.
Got a motion on the table, to have a council meeting here, next meeting, whatever it is, 2 weeks from now. Got a motion and a second, all in favor? All opposed? Passes 3-1. And now if that's done, I didn't,
So moved.
Second.
we got a motion and a second to adjourn.